Hi, today we'll talk about how sports organizations segregate their liabilities and ring fence their potential liabilities. A sports organization, like any other organization, even though it may be not for profit, can be sued, and obviously it can sue as well. Let's assume that there's Football LLC. This is an organization that runs football all over the world or in a particular region. It's got its various departments. You've got the chief executive's office, you've got the commercial department, operations, and then you've got a department that runs all the football. Now, this department organizes all the football events and it looks at the governance of football, the rules, the regulations, etc. Now, let's say this organization enters into commercial contracts with sponsors or other commercial partners, and these are contracts that place obligations on both sides to perform certain things. And let's assume that there is a breach of contract by Football LLC. Now, what could cause that breach of contract? For example, one of the things at an extreme level, at a very extreme level, could be that they were supposed to hold a world championship, which for some reason they didn't hold. And the sponsors feel they lost a lot of money, and therefore they are suing Football LLC, let's say for $2 billion. There's a court case going on, and they actually win the case. The sponsors win the case, and suddenly Football LLC is liable to pay these sponsors $2 billion, which let's say it doesn't have. So the court then appoints an administrator to take over the running of Football LLC and to manage Football LLC and try and administer it so that the sponsors or commercial partners can get that $2 billion. The administrator will take various actions. He might replace the chief executive. He may make other decisions. The thing about this setup is that the administrator will also be responsible for managing the football side of the business. So suddenly you have someone like a Price Waterhouse or a court-appointed administrator running world football and events and managing all the world football IP rights as well. So you are in a position where, because of the fact that Football LLC lost this commercial court case, it's now being run by a company such as a KPMG or a PwC or EY or some other company, and world football is now in the hand of the administrators. This is obviously not a very good situation for world football to be in. So what can one do about this? Well, for a start, for the example that I've mentioned, what Football LLC can do is it can form 3 separate companies to manage different areas of the sport. So one of the companies for a start could be Football Limited, and this is the company that runs all the football. And this is the company that runs the events and governs the game of football. You'll have the chief executive sitting as part of that company, and all the operations of world football will be housed in Football Limited. A second company could be formed that has all the intellectual property rights of world football, and all of that can be placed in that particular company. And thirdly, you form another company, Commercial Limited, that runs all the commercial side of the business. So it's this company now, Commercial Limited, that will enter into all the commercial contracts with the sponsors, with the broadcasters, with other commercial partners. And now let's look at the situation all over again, where you've got all these contracts in place and obligations on both sides. There's a breach of contract. The sponsors sue Commercial Limited this time for $2 billion. The case goes to court and the sponsors win. Commercial Limited doesn't have the money to pay the sponsors, and therefore the court appoints an administrator as previously. But the big difference now is that the administrator is managing Commercial Limited. He is not managing Football Limited or IP Limited, which are out of his reach, and therefore world football can continue to stay within the members of Football Limited. They will still own the intellectual property rights, and they will still be running the game of football, because now there is a dividing line. There are 3 different legal entities that are involved in running world football, and you have to set it up in such a way that the cross liability doesn't exist. So the liabilities of commercial limited should stay here and not extend to the IP limited and football limited. And that is one simplistic way. Obviously I've oversimplified this, but that is one way where an organization can protect its different liabilities by having different legal entities in place. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.